now and maybe 1 or 2 more majors this year. She's a little ahead of her own schedule, but she's growing very comfortable with the reputation of being one of the greats in women's tennis right now.
We'll get you updated on all the happenings in Melbourne here and Andre Agassi's match to follow, but we begin our live coverage with Maria Sharapova and American Lindsay Lee Waters inside Rod Laver Arena. It's Cliff Drysdale and Mary Carrillo.
Wimbledon champion and year-ending champion Maria Sharapova, just 17 years old, from Russia, the number 4 seed here. She made a huge mark in all of tennis, not just women's tennis, last year. She's in action here. And there is so much publicity, the glare of publicity that shines on her. First ball, we're live. Living now in Bradenton, Florida, where she came as a kid, and a very young kid. So her tennis development has been pure U.S.
Lindsay Lee Waters has been around a long time, though she's missed quite a few years to injury and to motherhood. One of the very few moms on tour. As a 4-year-old. Misses that one wide. So they have had very different careers, these two, very different upbringings. Lindsay Lee Waters' greatest claim to fame is a 1995 first-round Wimbledon win over Pam Shriver. Pam remembers that, and obviously she hits very hard, this kid, and she's always very fit. Can't call her a kid, I suppose. A lot older than Sharapova. Mary Jo Fernandez also has good knowledge of Lindsay Lee Waters, because she was one of the top juniors. Mary Jo's a little bit older than this one, but she's a top junior. Won 16 and under indoor nationals and trained with the USTA. So Mary Jo's had a long, hard look at her as well.
Used to play down in Key Biscayne together.
That's right.
The USTA training center there, Crandon Park.
Sharapova used to be known for big grunting, and she's toned that down a bit, but Lindsay Lee Waters has always barked when she played tennis.
Atlanta, Georgia is where she lives now, born in Oklahoma. In fact, her husband has an academy in Atlanta. Sharapova playing with that youthful enthusiasm, that single-mindedness of someone who has not been through the tennis ringer yet. She lacks fear.
That's a good thing to lack in this business.
Yes. Game point to the Russian. Good. 16 of her last 18 matches for the Russian. Ended up the last year extremely well, winning the year-ending championship, as we mentioned. Not only winning it, but beating Russians along the way, and a repeat performance over Serena Williams, whom she had beaten at the Great Wimbledon Championships in the final. That goes long, and Sharapova wins the first game against Lindsay Lee Waters. And friendly hello to everybody. Cliff Drysdale alongside Mary Krill. A quick reminder, we will have Andre Agassi up here live on Rod Laver Arena coming up. He can take on Rainer Schuttler in a repeat of that fourth Grand Slam that he won here in Australia. But let's talk about Sharapova. Was this last year for her like a one-year wonder, or is this...
Oh, no? You don't think so either, do you? No. I mean, Sharapova was so young when she won Wimbledon. She's only 17. She's still just that age. But I think she was more than ready for it. But, you know, we had seen her get to the quarterfinals of the French Open a couple of weeks earlier, and she seemed just happy to get there. But she came into Wimbledon knowing she could win. And there's her father, Yuri. She climbed on into the stands after she won this magnificent title. And, you know, I just like her whole attitude. I like her game. I love her strokes. She's got grips that work on every single surface. Lindsay Lee Waters stepping up to the plate for the first time. And, you know, when you talk to the people who have worked with her, like Nick Bollettieri and Robert Lansdorp in California, they speak to her work ethic and her hunger. I mean, she has an appetite for winning. And I like what Robert Lansdorp says about her. He says she wants to be better every 6 months. She wants to be a better player than she was before. Winning the WTA championships, as we mentioned, against Serena Williams, and she was down 4-love in the third. She spent an awfully hard, you know, holiday season, Christmas and New Year's, training extra hard to be fit enough to deal with the heat, the tough conditions down under. And this is by far the hottest day of the tournament, well over 100 degrees down there on Stadium Court here at Rod Laver Arena. All of the distractions in her life, and all of the opportunities, I just don't see her really taking her eye off the ball. Sharapova, father and coach, a well-known story now, how when she was only 7 years old, he and his kid moved with very little money, moved to the States to train at Bollettieri's. He took all manner of menial labor and spent a couple of years away from her mom, his wife, just to give Maria the chance.
She couldn't get a visa at that point.
Well, you know what? It's more than that, Cliff. They couldn't. Evidently, she wasn't. They didn't want to grant a visa to all three of them. The Russian government, figuring that they'd never come back. It's even at 1.
It is steamy out there today, as you can see these folks down under in Melbourne trying to keep themselves relatively cool, watching though the hottest player in women's tennis, Maria Sharapova. Outside in the queues, they keep themselves warm under umbrellas because you can't pull those out while you're watching tennis for the folks behind you, out of respect for their view. Sharapova took some time off from hitting as many tennis balls as she normally does, working out in Lansdorf's hometown of Los Angeles, spending a lot of time on the beach with wind sprints, 1,500-yard wind sprints. It takes a special talent to stay on your feet for, in women's tennis, up to 3 hours in blistering heat. So she has had to and has worked on her conditioning. She is also, by the way, now the highest paid woman athlete, even better, even more so rather than the Williams sisters. She's got a perfume deal, a watch deal, car deal. Camera, cell phone, clothing, rackets. Game point, Sharapova. Great shot from Lindsay Lee. Mary Jo was saying earlier today, Mary, that they talked about Lindsay Lee like she was a very hard worker,
yes,
like a women's courier.
Yeah, that's a female courier. Yeah, that's right. For her big forehand as well as her work ethic.
Sharapova holds this 17-year-old Wimbledon champion in action, off to a good start.
Sharapova, Lindsay Lee Waters on serve in the first set inside Rod Laver Arena. Now some bonus coverage involving the U.S. Open driver. She is rolling over the Frenchwoman Marion Bartoli, now serving for this match at 5-love in the second.
Yeah, it's 15-all, and actually even off court, Sveta has seemed very relaxed and handled the whole controversy very well, at least externally. Now internally, she may be having some tough times with it, but she's a very easygoing, personable teenager who's been dealt a very tough situation by the Belgian sports minister in the middle of the first major of the year.
At her practice session yesterday, she was surrounded by cameras and microphones, didn't answer questions, released a statement later in the day, but appears completely untroubled by it between the white lines of the court today.
And by the way, Bartoli, her opponent, is 39 in the world, got to the semifinals, her first tournament of the year. She's a tough player, and to be up 6-2, 5-love, now 2 match points with all the controversy is a really good effort.
That's where your coach does a good job. Sergio Casal, he's a really relaxed guy, you know. Maybe he tried to take a little pressure off her.
Well, and also U.S. Open winner. She's already faced a lot of pressure on the court since then, coming out now with a big scalp.
She shocked herself and the world by winning at Flushing Meadows as the third Russian to break through with a slam in 2004.
Beating Dementieva. It was so complimentary.
Off-court troubles, friction with the fellow Russians aside, a very strong statement made in her second match by Svetlana Kuznetsova. She swats aside Bartoli in 2 very quick sets. She's in the same quarter of the draw as Maria Sharapova. More immediate challenge is the winner of the Diaz-Oliva and Gisela Dulko match. Dulko, the young teenager, seeded 29th.
Who I think played Martina. It seemed like every one of Martina's singles matches last year. That's a good draw for Kuznetsova. And day off, of course, tomorrow, so that'll give another day for this storm to blow away.
I think the Kuznetsova-Sharapova match will be a spicy, attractive quarterfinal between the champions of Wimbledon and the U.S. Open. Sharapova, meanwhile, at 2-all with American Lindsay Lee Waters. Andre Agassi's match to follow this one, but back inside to Cliff and Mary.
I like the story from yesterday when, after Alicia Molik won her match, she and Sveta Kuznetsova played doubles together, and she was so aggravated at one of the tabloids here who had front page coverage of the drug controversy that she bought up every single paper from her local joint and bought up all the papers and threw them in the trash so they wouldn't circulate. Now that's a good doubles partner. That's having somebody watch your back.
Love 30. Sharapova serving 2 apiece. Lindsay Lee Waters holding serve to level this first set. As Chris mentioned, in the same half with Kuznetsova, but they played at the year-ending championship, and it was a win for Sharapova. And in the year-ending championship, she also beat Zvonareva, and in the semifinals, Miskina. So
a lot of Russians made that year-end championship.
Exactly.
And 7 Russians are in the women's top 15. And more are coming. It sure looked like Dinara Safina, Marat's kid sister, was having a pretty good go at Mauresmo till she lost in 3. That was earlier today.
Great
chances.
chances.
Twice these two have played, and it's never been close, including here at the Australian last year, where Sharapova took her out in the second round 6-1, 6-3.
Breaker serve against Sharapova. Lindsay Lee Waters takes the lead 3-2. She'll serve, and we come back. We're live at Labour Arena in Melbourne. Landscape of beehive-shaped formations of sandstone. There is some outstanding scenery here in this Australia from coast to coast. One of the natural wonders of this island and continent.
And our friend Dick Enberg has made his arrival for the first time ever. Dick Enberg, who will be joining us tomorrow, has made it here down under.
So he completes the Grand Slam.
It's his career slam.
French,
and so far,
US, and yeah.
And so far, he has seen the production facilities of Australia, of ESPN here in Melbourne.
Watching live coverage from down under in Melbourne, this is day 3 of the Australian Open Tennis Championships. Maria Sharapova, Wimbledon champion, year-ending champ, in action. First set, down a break, but coming up, Rainer Schüttler of Germany and Andre Agassi, the number 8 seed, live.
Not a great match by any stretch so far.
Yet.
Not yet. Not by a long way. Sharapova with 3 winners and 12 unforced errors so far. Some errors from Lindsay Lee Waters gives Sharapova a chance to get back on serve. The decibel level has gotten higher from Sharapova.
It's a grunt fest as Sharapova a chance to get the break back in the first set.
a big miss.
James Blake is going to be joining us from the studio, sitting down with the guys and gals, and be joining them when this game's over.
Didn't he have an emphatic return back into action in his first-round match?
Quick win.
Nice to have him back around.
ESPN's coverage of college hoops continues Wednesday night. One of the ACC's newest members, Miami Hurricanes, and the Duke Blue Devils. ACC West Wednesday, presented by Staples on ESPN at 8:30 Eastern. Hurricanes and Blue Devils. James Blake, by the way, we'll be hearing from him after this game. He has got a tough next round, having had an easy first round. Renews his rivalry with Australia's Hope Leighton Hewitt. Game point, Sharapova. Lindsay Lee Waters played in the U.S. Open qualifying tournament in 2000 while she was pregnant with her now 4-year-old child. Game to Sharapova, still down a break here, but Chris is with the aforementioned James Blake. Chris.
Cliff, thank you. It's great to see James Blake, 30, serving at 4-3. Cliff, Mary?
Well, nothing but upside for James Blake in his match against Hewitt tomorrow. And nothing but upside for Lindsay Lee Waters, and that's how she's playing this match.
Game point. And game to Lindsay Lee Waters, so she's got the 5-3 lead. Patrick McEnroe, Davis Cup captain, and of course our compadre here watching that interview as well and wondering about next year's Davis Cup team. He's got a #1 player, Andy Roddick, hoping obviously that Andre Agassi will come back. Maybe not much chance of that. We'll find out. But his options are limited, and James Blake is certainly one of them. Along with Marty Fish, who's been playing Davis Cup for him, Taylor Dent.
Marty Fish took a tough loss today after a 5-setter first round. Didn't compete as well as I'm sure he would have liked.
Sharapova serving, trying to stay in the first set. She's the Wimbledon champion, the year-ending champ, the 17-year-old from Russia living in the U.S. at love 15. In trouble. One of the Spaniards has had a tough year last year. Juan Carlos Ferrero. He and Maria are good friends.
Well, what are you trying to say?
Nothing, just that they're good friends. Why are you looking for something deeper than that?
No, I mean, yeah, they were spotted out at dinner the other night together.
Still makes them good friends.
So, all right.
Okay.
So, are you saying he might be here to watch Maria and not Lindsay Lee Waters? Will you go that far?
Yes.
Okay.
That implication, I take.
Still Is keeping his distance from old Yuri Sharapov, which I'm thinking is an extremely good idea. There's Maria's father.
(30-15). And now again, point for Sharapova. Nice forehand. You're not trying to get me to turn this into a romance.
Yeah, why not? You don't want to, you're too afraid to go there, huh? This time of night back in the States, and you don't want to say something like that? Okay.
Gotta go with what you know. Game point. And game to Sharapova. And now a test for Lindsay Lee Waters, a chance to win the first set against the Wimbledon champ.
It's all about
Where we're at now, 5-4, Lindsay Lee Waters serving for the first set. Nice place for her to be. Chance to win the first set against Maria Sharapova. Lindsay Lee's husband, Heath, he heads up the Ace Tennis Academy in Atlanta. Their daughter's name is Seven.
7 is 4.
7 is 4.
Hasn't really grown into her name yet. A few years off. It's a very funny Seinfeld. Costanza wanted to name a kid 7.
Spelled S-E-V-Y-N. 2 points from the first set for Lindsay Lee. Waters.
Not a good first set for Sharapova. 5 winners against 18 errors. There goes another one. And as always, it's goofy hat day down under. Important under this hot sun. Heath could use a lid.
First set, as Heath is happy with his outcome. Lindsay Lee, 6-4.
So, and
Exclusive coverage of the Australian Open, first Grand Slam of this year. We're down under Rod Laver Arena in Melbourne. Maria Sharapova just lost the first set to Lindsay Lee Waters. This is the first point of the second. If Lindsay Lee Waters is impressed by the credentials of the 17-year-old, she's not showing it right now. She's wasting no time at getting to the first strike. And it's what you see from Sharapova for the most part. But Lee Waters has got her on her heels for the moment. 15 all.
Really haven't heard Sharapova make this much noise in a long, long time. But this is a nice physical stretch there, and she gets the winner from that from that shot, and then a fist pump, which you often see from her. Lindsay Lee is taking herself very seriously. Yuri's having a hard time watching some of this. Again, it's not a good look at this. I mean, it's Lindsay Lee's hasn't even had as many winners as Sharapova, and Sharapova's not struck too many winning shots. But it was one break, and that's all it took. And now another break point chance for the American.
As you said, Mary, just one break so far. Mentioned the endorsements that Sharapova has. Well, she's been chosen to become an ambassador for the Moscow bid to host the 2012 Olympics.
Her return game is so predatory. Sharapova's got a pretty good serve too, but Lindsay Lee Waters is looking to break again. Look at that. She wanted that one too. Tried to take a big bite out of that second serve.
Sharapova holds her game one of the second set. Belongs to the Wimbledon champ. Lindsay Lee Waters, rather, last time that they switched ends was reading notes, and I'll show you, just see whether we can interpret some of them. Exaggerate topspin, make the first serve. Just get a lot of first serves in. Return looks like down the line.
Attack second serve,
yeah,
which she has been trying to do. And move her. I mean, this is the note she pulled out of her bag after she took the first set. She just wanted to remind herself of all the bullet points that she knew she had to do. Again, it's so nice to see, you know, when athletes take themselves seriously against the world's best. You know, they don't just go in there and show up for the check.
This is a critical moment. She's got the first set. She had a chance there in the first game of the second. Now serving at love 15. You're up against a better player. It's a good idea to keep your nose in front if you can.
In other words, try to win in straight sets. Because the general thinking is the longer a match goes, the better the chance that the better player, the more experienced player, will take it.
Having said that, we got a 27-year-old against a 17-year-old.
A 27-year-old who makes a point of being extremely fit. Lindsay Lee Waters is just very well known for her fitness level, her work ethic. So she knows she can battle out there in this heat. And she's trying to dictate as much as possible. That's why she's out front right now. There's that exaggerated topspin. Both Mary Jo and Pam were telling me, I was asking them about this American, and they both said how hard and flat she hits, but she's obviously trying to roll the ball a little bit more, as she did just there. You don't want to hit flat. That's what Sharapova likes best, is a nice flat ball. That one kicked up at her. Just move that strike zone a little bit, and it helps cause an error. Now, Lindsay Lee Waters is smart enough to know that even though she likes to hit hard and flat, Sharapova is better at it than she. So she's taking her out of that comfort zone a bit. Just smart.
That is smart, and it's not easy to do. I mean, remember the match they played with Serena Williams in the championship match at Wimbledon, and how Sharapova took it to her? Break point, Sharapova.
And that's got a sting, you know. Wasn't that big a serve. Pretty much just bent in there and finds the middle of the net on a break point. So Sharapova 0 for 2 in that department.
Yeah, she never had a break point in the first set, but this is her third.
Sharapova gets the break. 2-11 in the second. First set to Lindsay Lee Waters of the USA. Andre Agassi coming up here. Live coverage from Rod Laver Arena as he takes on Rainer Schüttler in second round of the men's singles. That's all up live as soon as this match is over.
Andre was speaking to the fact that men's tennis is so tough that that match, which 2 years ago was the Australian Open final, is this year's Australian Open second round. Of course, Schüttler didn't have the 2004 that he might have wanted. 2003, he shot up in the rankings, ended in the top 10.
Comeback from Maresmo against Dinara Safina after Safina won the first. No trouble for Kuznetsova, at least on court. Number 5 seed through. Number 17 seed Zuluaga is out.
That's a surprise there. There is Zvonareva, the 9th seed, out in straight sets. Dushevina, who beat her on the Wimbledon Juniors, beating Sharapova 2 years ago. She's a tough player. Watch out for Anna Ivanovic.
Yeah.
1-1 against a tough Russian Maria Kirilenko. Ivanovic could be the breakout player on the WTA Tour this year. That's saying a lot because there's so many young Eastern Europeans who you could say that about, who have that chance.
Sharapova was the breakout player last year, obviously. Yeah, nice win for Amy Fraser, number 21 seed, 2 in the third.
Playing in her 17th Australian Open, more than any other woman in the draw.
Game point, Sharapova. Boy, another really aggressive return. That time a terrific angle. Lindsay Waters. Game point still Sharapova. Got 2 games in the second with the break. 6-4 first set. And a surprise to Lindsay Lee Waters. Sharapova holds 3-0 in the second set. First set to the American. Back live after this. This is live coverage of the Australian Open from down under in Melbourne, everybody. Lindsay Lee Waters taking on Maria Sharapova in this Rod Laver Arena match. Cliff Drysdale here, Mary Carrillo watching. Folks here trying to stay out of the heat to the extent that they can. All kinds of headgear, and it's quite interesting that this is what they call the Grand Slam of the Asian area, and so they have invited all people from all over the area. I mean, they've made a real effort to do it, and it's worked. I mean, Kia, for example, is their major sponsor, and it is not an Australian company, as you well know. Of course, it's a little cool back home on the East Coast, northeast anyway. 93 here. Humidity, winds really, I mean, they're gusting, but in this center court, it's very well protected, and I don't think it's not a factor.
The players are enjoying a little cloud cover right now. Well, now it's Sharapova. It's just nothing but positive body language from her. She's getting some length on her shots, which is giving her some short balls to work with. And she seems to have settled in on this one pretty well now.
She's trying as hard as she can, Lindsay Lee Waters, to out-hit one of the biggest hitters in women's tennis, the 17-year-old Sharapova, and it worked for a set.
She's on the wrong end of these rallies now, though, isn't she?
Yeah. And the unforced errors, obviously, from Sharapova in the early stages are not there anymore. That's terrific.
Nice little change-up, couple of slice backhands, and then all of a sudden she got something a little bit short, decided to power right through it. So that's nice. Nice collection of backhands there.
That's still a break point. Error there from Sharapova, but she has great mechanics, doesn't she, Mary, off the ground? And the serve, actually.
It's a very stylish game, isn't it? And again, I'm very fond of the grips that she uses. It allows her to play under any tough conditions on any surface. See, this is what Sharapova wants. Just a lot of power from Lindsay Lee Waters. In a couple of points ago when she went to the slice and stuff, it helped her out. But if she's going to muscle with Sharapova, she's not going to win this one.
Great point. Sharapova breaks again, so she's got the insurance break in the second set. She is one of a whole group of Russian women players. Now, it's just amazing how successful they have been. Ishkina is still ranked above Sharapova.
Now, the first three won 3 majors last year. Dementieva was in 2 Grand Slam finals, the French and the U.S. Open. Zvonareva lost today. Nadia Petrova has still not had that big breakout major from
But
the
she's got
time.
the potential, doesn't
Oh,
she?
I think so. She got to the semifinals of the French Open a couple of years ago, beating Jennifer Capriati along the way. By the way, Jennifer Capriati not here this year, out with a shoulder. And of course, the two finalists from last year, the Belgians, who were dominating women's tennis after the Williams sisters, they're not here either. Leisters with continuing wrist problems, and Enna Arden out with a knee.
And Arden winning the Australian, as you just said, last year, Mary, and then Meskina at the French, the Russian Sharapova, and Kuznetsova at the US. After the Australian, the Belgians didn't play in any more slams. That opened the door to some extent. Chances here for Lee Waters. Down a couple of breaks, but love 40. This game doesn't wait for anybody, does it? The Williams sisters are out for a little while, and then the Belgians make their move. The Belgians are out. They'll find a different game when they come back, too.
Two break-point chances. Cliff, I'll never forget Ivan Lendl. I once asked him at the height of his powers why he played so much, because he trained so hard. And he said, if I take a week off, it takes me a month to get back. And in the time you're gone, everybody around you is working on their game. So it's not only have you lost some of your own form, but now you've got to catch up to what you left behind. When Monica Seles was forced to leave the game in '93, she was, at the time, the hardest hitter off both sides than any woman. When she came back, she was right in the middle of the pack all of a sudden.
Except that she won here, remember?
That's the only major she won after her return. Wow, from love 40.
Lindsay Lee Waters has got a really nice game, and she used it so well, because there are a lot of unforced errors from Sharapova. You sort of got her act together here, but gee, Lindsay Lee Waters got a nice game.
Sharapova just said vamos. Because she has been hanging around Juan Carlos Ferrero.
Oh, we go in there again.
Yeah, sure. Oh, have you ever heard her say vamos before?
No.
Okay. I'm just saying. Look at that. That's a tremendous effort.
5 games to 11 the second. Lindsay Lee Waters won the first set here in Australia.
On a scale from 1 to 10, how fine is a 10?
USA winning the first set. Second set, Sharapova is very much in control. 5 games to love, 1 game away. Let's take a look at the backhand side. Talk about how great her ground strokes are. Look at this eye on the ball. Then she wrote full shoulder rotation here with the 2 hands. Give me a freeze right there, please. You see how the racket face at this point. As he's taken it back, it's actually a little bit open, but she's closed it. And as the racket comes into the ball now, it's low to high, and she's got tremendous control of that shot. Full shoulder turn too, by the way. Which you don't want if you're hitting a one-handed backhand. The contrast between the Sharapova two-handed backhand and Roger Federer's one-handed backhand, where he stays so sideways on the ball, is a great lesson.
Not much wrong with her forehand either, is there?
Sure.
You know, what's interesting is that Sharapova was training at the Bollettieri Academy, and once Yuri Sharapov realized that his kid was going to be tall, he wanted her to play like another tall woman, Lindsay Davenport. He wanted her to own the same kind of clean strokes that Davenport uses so well. And that's when he decided that she should be spending some time on the west coast of the United States over at Robert Lansdorf in California.
Very interesting, because she does have those flat control ground strokes a lot like the current world's #1. And 30-all in this game. Lansdorf said in due time she's going to win all the slams. He said he thinks the French will probably be the last one that she'll win, but she's only 17. She's got to grow into her body even more, get stronger and quicker, more endurance. Doesn't happen overnight. Game point to Lee Waters. Oh. Jimmy Connors met the ball very easily early on the return. Look at this, how she moves in again to that ball. And then an Andre Agassi took up that baton. His dad, Mike, was his first coach and would not let him back up behind the baseline. So he hit the ball as early as anybody. And you see Sharapova stalking the baseline now. Not everybody does it. How about Andy Roddick? He'll get 20 feet behind the baseline on second serve sometimes.
It's limiting. I mean, as dangerous as he is, how's he going to get to the net from that far back?
Go back to the notes. Numeric for Lindsay lead for the third set. Easy second set there for Sharapova without losing a game. She levels this match at 1 set apiece. And Yuri breathes a little more easily now. Not much reaction from him. You'll see the third set live. Second round women's singles make it back.
So Anne Dent started off serving, double faulted twice in a row, smacked the ball out of this Margaret Court arena, got a warning, and then put his head down, held serve, won 4 straight points, and now Tabara in trouble here, triple break point. Taylor Dent with a tailor-made chip and charge play to break serve now to go up 6-4, 2-love.
That's 7 straight games now, Brad, for Taylor.
He's turned it around. I'm telling you, he's that dual Aussie-American, and he decided to play for America. He's got the tattoo on his arm of an American flag and an Australian flag. His dad was a great player down here, Phil Dent.
If Dent can win this match, his next opponent would be The winner of the Agassi-Schutler match was just to follow on Rod Laver Arena.
Hey, Pammy, what's he done to turn this match around? He was down 4-1 double break and then 7 straight games.
Well, Brad, to be honest, I really got out here about 10 minutes ago towards the very end of the first set, but I will tell you that Darren Cahill, coach of Andre Agassi, I ran into him on the way out, so little scouting going on, and obviously Taylor Dent at this point is in the driver's seat. Brad, having not watched when he was down 1-4, I think what's happening is the chip and charge play and the serve is just getting the better of Tabara right now. He just can't get a hold of it. Even the kick here, he's not doing enough with it.
What about Taylor's fitness, Brad? That's always a concern. Is he built for this kind of heat if this match goes the distance?
He is not built for this kind of weather. I mean, that's the one thing for me that's holding Taylor back from being a top 10 player. He needs to get a little more committed to fitness, and if he could get himself under 200 pounds, I think we're looking at a top 10 player.
But Brad, look at Tabara. I mean, he's got the biggest rear end I've seen in men's tennis in years.
He's got nothing on this one football player when I was a youngster named Stump Mitchell. I mean, I tell you, those thighs must be 38 inches.
It's not just the thighs.
There's the bashing shot from the hefty Tabara as he tries to get the break back in this second set. Maria Sharapova, by the way, you saw held serve in the first game of the third set, and we'll get you back live there very soon as Dent tries to recover in this service game.
Hey, Pam, I tell you, Taylor's the last of a dying breed where he likes to serve and volley every point, chip and charge. That's something you can identify with.
Man after my own heart. I'm relating to that last chip and charge play that broke serve. And it's not done enough. I mean, I know there's not a lot of grass court tennis right now, but it's a play that can win on any surface.
Taylor, of course, always watched closely because his dad, Phil, was an Aussie Davis Cup hero. Comes down here, spends a lot of time in Australia, and has high hopes for this event every year. He ran into Andy Roddick a year ago, Brad, and was absolutely scorched. And it was a prime-time night match. I know you were worried about it, but Taylor just did not perform in that match.
I tell you, 2 weeks ago in Adelaide, in the first term of the year, he beat Leighton Hewitt in his hometown.
He flips the racket, you can see, after the double fault to set up 2 break points for Tabara.
That's his 9th double fault, Chris. And Brad, we've been talking about serves yesterday, Dementieva and things. I think Taylor Dent's toss is way too far to the left. I mean, I know he has a great serve, but when it gets too far to the left, it's really a disaster, and I think physically it must be really tough on him.
Is the wind wreaking a little havoc? Because it seems windy up where we're at.
It's not that bad. It's actually fairly calm. I'm sitting about 20 rows up. It's not that bad from Australian standards.
1 break point, wiped away with the big serve. Sharapova and Lee Waters each holding serve to begin the third set as they get back there momentarily.
She was doing better until she looked at those notes.
Forehand volley, and Dent has now saved a pair of break points.
That's the one thing that Taylor does really well on the stretch. Very good drop volleys. He reads the passing shots well, moves forward on the volleys, and then the eyedropper.
Flip side.
And that's where fitness, getting down low for that first volley in the heat. And, Brad's right. A guy like Taylor Dent, he can just sort of step up the determination, the dedication. Oh, especially as a serve and volleyer, you need to physically be so strong.
Yes.
Yeah,
Big serve gets him out of trouble again there.
I think it's a lot more physically exhausting to be a serve and volleyer than it is to be a baseline player because, you have to get down and move forward every point.
Even though the rallies are shorter, the moves are more violent.
Out. Missed that.
It's a sloppy error from Taylor right there. Set up a game point. When you've won so many games in a row, you just hate to give away a game, get a guy back in the match.
7 in a row right now.
Tabara able to convert that break point back on serve in the second set as that snaps Taylor Dent's streak of games. Early third set action, Sharapova and Lee Waters. We'll keep you posted on the